Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, Chike, let y'all take it away with movie reviews.
All right. Well, I'll kick it off with two things I saw. So I am attempting to still go through my Oscar-nominated movies, and the main movie I saw from that is Triangle of Sadness. And this one is done by, I forgot if he's Dutch or Swedish director, but it follows the story of this couple that goes on this luxury yacht cruise. And what happens is eventually the cruise ship crashes, and they all some of these people with the luxury cruise ship end up on the island. And it kind of gives a story of like what's going on from the beginning of this couple getting to the cruise ship, being on the cruise ship, what happens, and then being on the island and how it ends. And it's so I'll say this, and my description hasn't been that great because I did not like this film really. It was 2.5 hours. It went really slow. It won the best, picture at Cannes Film Festival last year. So it had some critical acclaim, but I understand what they were going with, and it was one of those kind of like commentaries on the ultra rich and how they treat like the people who work on the yacht and things like that, and then how the tables have turned when they get to the island. But to me it was kind of a big miss. It just meandered too many times, didn't really end up anywhere exciting, and then at the end was kind of nice, but nothing that I would recommend. So if you're trying to add to your Oscar checklist, you could probably skip this one unless you really like the director. And I've heard he's done great work before, so this may have just been a miss. But Triangle of Sadness, definitely something you can pass on. But the other thing I saw, which goes in the other direction, is called The Pez Outlaw. And what this is, it's kind of a fun, quirky documentary, only an hour and a half, about this guy who in the early 90s decides to buy a lot of Pez in Europe and bring it to the American marketplace and to different collectors conventions to sell these exclusive Pez, because at the time Pez America had a whole different agreement than the rest of Pez in Europe, and so the Pez in Europe you couldn't get in the States. And yes, I'm talking about the little candy things that if you remember the candy, yeah. Yes, okay. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, this guy just randomly decides to go to Europe, find the factory where the Pez is made, and he meets people there, and they sell him a bunch of cheap Pez because they're just excited that someone, I guess, recognizes that there's a Pez factory in the middle of Slovakia. And he goes and he does this whole thing of becoming a big seller in the Pez collectible industry, much to the anger of the president of American Pez, because he doesn't like Pez collectors, and B, he thinks this guy is like circumventing what he's been trying to keep out of the United States. So it just kind of goes into the story of him and how he's got along with kind of discovering this Pez collection and then getting into it and then kind of being shut down by the big Pez, as we say. So they do a lot of fun little visuals, and it was good. It's really fun. It has some cool little moments, and for an hour and a half, that's like perfect documentary length for me. So if you're looking for something, it's on Netflix, so it's already essentially free, and yeah, it's a fun little watch.
Okay. I didn't actually see anything from the Oscar realm. One of the films I saw was the documentary Pamela, from Pamela Anderson. And I watched it just out of curiosity because basically she says that her documentary is a love story. And she talks about basically her career from the beginning, how she got started, through the years, through her time with Tommy Lee and then up till now. And if I had to take away something from it, I think that Pam is still in love with Tommy Lee. I think
she said that was the only person that was the love of her life. She said that.
Yeah, and she's married now. She has a husband. She's married to somebody else.
She's married again?
Yeah, she's married. But I really think that she still really wants to be with Tommy Lee, whatever that means. But her trajectory through her career was pretty interesting. I thought it was a pretty decent story. She narrates it herself. I think I find her to be very real, very down to earth about it, as down to earth as she can be. And to see her with two grown sons, is a little weird because, I see Pam Anderson as, who we all know Pam Anderson to be. But, she's also two grown men's mother, so it was interesting.
Didn't she they put together the documentary, from what I understand, and she let them read, she let the kids read her diaries.
Oh, yes.
Her personal thoughts.
Yeah.
And she gave them complete creative control.
Yeah, it was produced by her elder son.
Yeah,
he produced it. Yeah. Pretty interesting. It's a good watch if you watch documentary films and you're into that. It was a good watch.
Yeah, pretty good things.
The next thing that I saw was the Teen Wolf movie. So it's the tail end of the story of the Teen Wolf series. And I love stuff like that. It was, 25 years later? And they picked it back up, and it stars Tyler Posey and Crystal Reed. Everyone that's basically in the series is in the movie, except for the Styles character. He's not in the movie. But it was pretty interesting. It's a good story. It continues off where the series ended, and it also has room for continuation because there's a new Teen Wolf. So we'll see where that goes, if MTV is going to pick it up and bring it back to television, or if they're going to do a series of movies. I don't know how they're going to do that. But it's an MTV franchise. I don't know if they're going to continue the story on Paramount, because Paramount's the parent company. But it'd be pretty interesting to see where they're going to go with that. But they did hint that it was going to continue. And what I didn't know is that that show was based off of an animated series from the 80s.
Oh, so the original movies were based on the same series?
I'm thinking so.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Or maybe they created the cartoons from the movies, but the series, the animated was a series. So it went more in depth with the story. And so the series on MTV picked up from the animated series, which is interesting. Yeah. Special effects are pretty good for it to be an MTV production. It's pretty good. And the last thing that I jumped into was the Harlem series. It's the second season on Amazon. Yeah. I like the second season better already. It's very interesting.
Second season's good. It's really good.
What I don't like is the shelling out of the episodes on every Friday. Just give it all to us and let us absorb it and leave it alone. There's other things to watch, y'all. Stop doing this like it's regular TV. It's streaming for a reason. Let's use the streaming part. Give us all of it. Let us absorb it so we can move on to the next thing. Because what happens with me, let me talk to y'all out there in the streaming world. What happens with me, and I review for a living. If I'm watching your show and you dove it out like it's regular TV, and another network, another streaming service gives me the whole season, I'm going to absorb those seasons so I can get them out the way, and I'm not going to come back to you right away. I might not come back to you until it's too late, or I'm uninterested.
Yeah. Yeah, they drop episodes every Friday. They release the first two, because I was watching the first one, and then it was late, and I saw I was going to the second one. I said, "Well, I'll have to come back and I'll finish the season over the weekend." But it was only the second episode. But I agree, it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah. And of course, I'm watching Last of Us on HBO. Listen, that show is so good.
I heard it was good.
Actually, get uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable watching it because I feel like I'm in the last of the days.
It is very stressful.
And don't like it at the same time.
Yes.
I heard it was good.
Yeah, you're on edge, and you're like, anything could happen, and if it's not happening with the zombies, then anything else could happen.
Yes.
And yes, I agree. And they did this last episode. I forgot to mention, I saw it too. Are you caught up, Chike?
I'm caught up.
Okay, yeah. So I think they did a good job with this episode and a good relationship building with the main characters. But yes, every time they put that music on, and you're like, oh my gosh, is something happening? And nothing happens, but you just they put you on edge.
Very good show.
Yeah, check it out. Anything coming down the pipeline?
I want to see this house party because I think I'm going to be interested in that. So I think I want to check that out.
No, you said it was good. Anything for you, Adam?
I mean, eventually Ant-Man, but I think I'm still going to go through and like check out The Fablemans. I know that's one of the Oscar movies, and it was a Steven Spielberg movie, so probably try to hit up a few more of the Oscar films first.
All right. Well, guys, thank you as always for letting us know what to spend our time and money on and whatnot. And see you next week. We're right back after this.
Thanks.